The phone buzzed again, a persistent, angry vibration against the polished wood of the nightstand. It stopped, then started again. On the third cycle, I finally reached over and answered it. "Hello? Babe, where are you? It's my birthday. I've been calling you all night. What the hell is going on?" My eyes drifted to the hotel room's electrochromic glass shower. With a tap on the remote, the frosted privacy screen cleared, becoming perfectly transparent. Inside, a woman with a stunning, hourglass figure was rinsing off, her silhouette framed by the rising steam. She was a work of art, a goddess in a watercolor mirage. Tisk! I clicked my tongue, a sound of pure satisfaction, a lazy smile spreading across my face. "She's in the shower." My voice was a low rasp, thick with the aftermath of passion. Silence on the other end for a few seconds, then a shriek that was pure, cracking fury. "Who the fuck is this? Why do you have my girlfriend's phone? She's in the shower? What the hell are you doing there? You better start talking right now, or I'll kill you." The voice was so shrill it made my eardrum ache. I held the phone away from my head, my expression placid. When he finally ran out of breath, I spoke again, my tone maddeningly calm. "A man and a woman, alone in a hotel room. What do you think we could have possibly done that would require a shower? You tell me who you are? Right now." The voice on the other end was trembling with rage. "You really don't recognize my voice? It's me, your brother-in-law. You absolute moron." Without waiting for a response, I hung up. The bathroom door slid open and Sophia Vance emerged, wrapped in a silk robe, her dark hair still damp. The steam had flushed her cheeks pink, and her eyes, veiled with a thin layer of moisture, held a natural, smoldering allure. "Who was that? They've been calling all night," she said, sinking onto the edge of the bed and leaning her head against my shoulder. She started dabbing her hair with a towel, her gaze turning playful. "Seriously, who keeps calling? It's so annoying." Looking at the bombshell beside me, I tossed the phone aside. "Forget it, baby. Let's go again." "Stop it," Sophia protested weakly, a half-hearted push against my chest as I guided her back onto the mattress. Her fingertips traced circles on my skin. "I just got clean. Should have known it was a waste of time. I can never get clean with you." Her last words were swallowed by my kiss. "Well, my name is Ethan Reed." The guy on the phone was Kyle Sterling, my brother-in-law. The beauty in the shower was his girlfriend. Some might call me a monster. I wouldn't argue the point. Right now, I am one, but I don't feel a shred of guilt for what I've done. And this is just the beginning. By the time I'm finished, Kyle Sterling will have nothing. He'll be ruined, disgraced, living the very life he's always despised. My history with Kyle goes all the way back to high school. The first time I saw him was on the first day of freshman year at Northwood Preparatory Academy. I was in a worn, ill-fitting hand-me-down uniform, stuck in the last desk in the back corner by the window. I had the highest entrance exam score in our year, top of the class, but my family was broke. We couldn't afford the voluntary donations that secured you a better spot in the social hierarchy, so I was relegated to the worst seat in the room. That's when Kyle Sterling walked in. He wasn't wearing the school uniform, just head-to-toe designer clothes. Two equally slick-looking cronies flanked him. They stopped at the door, scanned the classroom like they owned it, and their eyes landed on me. Well, is this the scholarship case that aced the test?" Kyle swaggered over to my desk and kicked the leg of my chair. "Doesn't look like much." I said nothing, keeping my head down, trying to read my book. "Hey, I'm talking to you. Are you deaf?" Kyle snatched the book out of my hands and threw it onto the floor. "You don't get to look this good when you're this broke. You need to learn some humility around me." Got it? A few kids snickered, but no one dared to intervene. Everyone knew who Kyle Sterling was. His father was a real estate mogul, a man who had funded the school's new library. I bent down to pick up my book. Kyle's expensive sneaker slammed down on it first. "You want this?" He grinned, tilting his head. "Beg me." I looked up at his arrogant, smug face. For a moment, I was terrified. My mind went blank. All I remember is slowly pulling my hand back, getting up, and trying to walk out of the classroom. "Did I say you could leave?" Kyle blocked my path. "From now on, you're my guy. You do my homework, you cover my cleaning duties, you run my errands. You come when I call. You hear me?" I still didn't speak. Kyle's fist slammed into my stomach. He was doughy but strong, and the punch doubled me over, knocking the wind out of me. I heard him whisper in my ear, "From now on, I see you, I hit you. I'm going to beat the rules into you. From that day forward, my high school years were a living hell. I did 2 sets of homework every night, mine and his. I had to run 10 blocks during lunch to get him a specific sandwich from a deli he liked. During gym class, I was the designated ball boy. After school, I had to wait for him and his friends to finish their video games so I could carry both of our backpacks home. I tried talking to a teacher. My homeroom advisor, a woman in her 40s, just pushed her glasses up her nose after listening to my tearful story. You need to learn to get along with your classmates. The Sterling family has been very generous to this school. You should try to be more understanding. When I tried again, she grew impatient. It takes 2 to tango. Why does he pick on you and not someone else? Have you considered your own role in this? The 3rd time, Kyle cornered me right outside her office and beat me up. I saw her glance through the window, then quickly draw the blinds. After he was done, Kyle spat on my face. Ugh, I hate poor kids like you. Poor kid. The words became a thorn lodged in my heart, and it stayed there for years. 2, I studied like a man possessed, just to get away from him. I got into Columbia, one of the best universities in the country. I thought I was finally free. His grades were abysmal. But on the first day of freshman orientation, I saw that face I loathed more than anything on earth. His family had made another massive donation. The university had made an exception. He had his arm around some girl with long hair and too much makeup, laughing with a group of guys. When he saw me, his eyes lit up. He let go of the girl and walked over. Fancy seeing you here, he said, clapping me hard on the shoulder. We're classmates again. You'll have to help me out, Mr. Genius. A cold dread washed over me. High school was repeating itself. College was no different. For 4 years, Kyle escalated his torment. He started taking things from me, a scholarship I had earned, a position in student government, and eventually the person I loved. In my junior year, I met Leah Miller. She was a star in the foreign language department, with a smile that made her eyes curve into crescents and a voice that was impossibly gentle. We met in the library, reaching for the same book. We started studying together, then eating together, then taking long walks across the campus green. For the first time in my life, I felt a genuine warmth. She was the first woman I was ever with. I thought, finally, here was something Kyle couldn't take from me. I was wrong. So profoundly, devastatingly wrong. Right before graduation, he somehow found out I was planning to propose to Leah. That weekend, as I stood in the middle of a secluded campus garden I had decorated, he showed up with his whole crew. Candles, rose petals, balloons, and a ring I'd saved up for a year to buy, working part-time jobs between classes. I had no idea what I was doing, but I wanted to be perfect. Leah arrived. I got down on one knee just like in the movies. Leah, I love you. Let me take care of you for the rest of our lives. No, Leah cut me off, her voice loud. You can't give me what I want. You're not good enough for me. That's when Kyle and his pack of hyenas burst out from wherever they were hiding. He walked up and kicked over the heart-shaped arrangement of candles. A poor boy trying to play grown-up? The money you scraped together for a year barely bought that tiny ring. You expect a girl like Leah to live on bread and water with you? It was an inexpensive ring, but it represented a year of my life. Kyle picked it up, weighed it in his hand, and then hurled it into the darkness. Get lost. Don't embarrass yourself. The crowd of his friends erupted in laughter. I don't remember how I left that night. I didn't go back to my dorm. I just sat on the athletic fields until sunrise. As the sky grew light, I stood up, brushed the dew from my pants, and made a decision. I would make Kyle Sterling pay. I would make all of them pay. I would never be poor again. I would use any means necessary to get my revenge. In the 2 years after graduation, I became a different person. I was up at 6 a.m. every day for a 6-mile run, followed by 2 hours at the gym. My diet was calculated down to the gram, a precise ratio of carbs, protein, and fat. I devoured hundreds of books on etiquette, social dynamics, and body language. I practiced smiling, speaking, and making eye contact in the mirror. I took online courses in corporate management, financial analysis, and business negotiation. I needed this knowledge. I knew the Sterling family business, Sterling Industries, was a critical piece of my plan. After 2 years, the physical transformation was the most obvious. My already decent features became sharp and defined as I shed excess fat and built lean muscle. A 6-pack, broad shoulders, a narrow waist. In a suit, I was a walking advertisement for bespoke tailoring. Combined with my carefully cultivated mannerisms, I turned heads wherever I went. I'd occasionally see Kyle's updates on Instagram. It was the same old story: clubbing, racing expensive cars, a rotating cast of women. Their parents had died years ago, leaving the company in the hands of his older sister, Claire Sterling. Kyle just had a no-show title and a generous monthly allowance. I'd look at his posts and sneer. Keep it up. Stay arrogant. Stay stupid. It'll make destroying you that much sweeter. For the day I interviewed at Sterling Industries, it was raining. I wore a custom-tailored suit, my hair perfectly styled as I sat waiting in the conference room. My resume was a work of art, listing a degree from an Ivy League school, 2 impressive internships, and several high-value certifications. Most of it was fabricated, but I was confident I wouldn't be caught. I had prepped for a year, rehearsing answers to every conceivable question. The interviewers were the HR director and a department manager. The questions were standard. I answered them flawlessly, projecting a maturity and insight far beyond my years. Halfway through, the conference room door opened. A woman walked in. She looked to be in her early 30s, dressed in a chic cream-colored suit, her hair in a low chignon. Her features were exquisite, but etched with fatigue. She was holding a file, clearly just passing by, when her eyes fell on me. "Who is this?" she asked the HR director. "Ms. Sterling, this is Ethan Reed. He's interviewing for the marketing department," the director said, jumping to his feet. So this was her, Claire Sterling, Kyle's sister, the current head of the company. I stood up and gave a slight nod. "Ms. Sterling." My voice was exactly as I had practiced, deep but not gravelly, with just the right amount of magnetism. Claire looked at me for an extra second, then nodded. "Please continue." She left, but I noticed she paused outside the glass wall for a moment, looking back at me. Perfect. Step 1, get noticed. Mission accomplished. I got the job, marketing associate. I worked like a machine, often staying late into the night. Whenever I felt exhaustion setting in, I'd think about the years of humiliation, and it was like a shot of adrenaline. I was back at it, hammering out proposals and strategies. My work was fast and brilliant. In less than 3 months, I was the department's rising star. I also started making calculated appearances in places Claire was likely to be. The company cafe, the executive parking garage, even the yoga class at the high-end gym she frequented. I had researched her schedule like a secret agent. Our first real conversation was at the annual company gala. Claire had had a bit too much to drink and was standing alone on the terrace. I walked over with 2 glasses of water and offered her one. "Thank you," she said, accepting it and rubbing her temples. "You're Ethan from marketing." "Ethan Reed," I smiled. "I'm impressed you remember me, Ms. Sterling. You wrote an excellent quarterly report," she said. "Clear analysis, solid data. It's hard to believe you've only been here 6 months." "You gave me the opportunity, and everyone on the team has been very supportive," I replied, layering on the humility. We chatted about work for a few minutes. I was careful to strike the perfect balance. Not too eager, not too distant. As she was leaving, Claire asked for my number. "If you have any good ideas in the future, you can text them to me directly," she said. I nodded. "Of course, Miss Sterling." As I turned away, a wicked smile crept across my face. This was going even better than I'd planned. Pursuing Claire Sterling was easier than I could have imagined. She was exhausted. Her parents were gone, and her brother was a useless playboy. The entire weight of the company rested on her shoulders, and she had to constantly fend off the old guard on the board of directors. She needed someone to share the burden, someone to understand, someone to hand her a glass of water when she was tired and tell her it would be okay. It was laughably easy for me to be that person. I played the part to perfection. When she worked late, I would coincidentally be in the office too, and I'd bring her some takeout. When she was dealing with a difficult client, I would provide some casually known background information and strategic advice. When her brother acted up again, I would say softly, "Claire, don't work yourself to death. You have me now." In our late-night text conversations, I would occasionally reveal a sliver of my own past. My family didn't have much money when I was growing up. I texted her one night. I was bullied a lot. Kids made fun of my clothes, that my lunch was just a cheap sandwich. For a while, I really hated the world. Claire replied almost instantly. "And now?" "Now, I think those experiences made me stronger," I typed. At least I know now that if you want something, you have to fight for it yourself. I never mentioned Kyle's name, but I knew exactly what Claire would be thinking of, her own brother, who loved to bully others. 3 months later, she accepted my confession of love. We were at a high-end Italian restaurant near the office. I gave her a necklace. Not wildly expensive, but tasteful and unique. After she put it on, I looked her in the eyes and said, "Claire, let me take care of you." Claire cried. She said it had been so long since anyone had said that to her. That night, I took her home and kissed her at the entrance to her apartment building. Her lips were soft, her technique inexperienced. I, however, acted with the passion and depth of a man truly in love. When I got back to my own rented apartment, I stood under a scalding shower for half an hour. The water was hot, but I felt a chilling cold that went straight to my bones. The first family gathering I attended as Claire's boyfriend was at the Sterling family's penthouse on the Upper East Side. A few relatives and close friends were there, and so was Kyle. Claire felt our relationship was serious, that she was becoming dependent on me, and wanted to use the opportunity to introduce me to everyone. Kyle was the last to arrive. He was decked out in some streetwear brand, his hair a ridiculous shade of silver, with an Instagram model on his arm. He swaggered in. "Sis, I hear you got a boyfriend. Let's see what sucker was brave enough to take on the Ice Queen." His words died in his throat when he saw me, sitting next to Claire. Time seemed to freeze. The smile on Kyle's face stiffened. His eyes went wide, like he'd seen a ghost. He let go of the girl and took a couple of steps forward before stopping short. Aren't you that?" I stood up and extended my hand with a calm smile. "Kyle, long time no see." I didn't call him Mr. Sterling. I used his first name, my tone as familiar as if we were old friends. Kyle didn't shake my hand. He stared at me, his face shifting from red to white to a sickly green. "What are you doing here?" "Ethan is my boyfriend, and soon he'll be your brother-in-law," Claire said, frowning at his reaction. "Kyle, mind your manners." "Boyfriend?" Kyle barked out a laugh. "Sis, do you have any idea who this is?" "He was my classmate in college. A total charity case. He's only with you for your money." "Kyle Sterling." Claire's voice was sharp. "Stop talking nonsense." "I'm not." Kyle pointed a finger at me. "Ask him yourself. In school, he followed me around like a lost puppy, doing my homework, running my errands. He's a spineless worm. How could you let someone like him into our family?" The penthouse was dead silent. All the relatives were watching, their faces a mixture of shock and curiosity. I lowered my eyes, then looked up at Claire, my own eyes glistening with manufactured hurt. My voice was soft. "Claire, I honestly had no idea you were his sister. In college, we had some misunderstandings." "Misunderstandings?" Kyle lunged at me and grabbed the collar of my shirt. "Cut the crap. You were a pathetic simp for Leah Miller. You're still pissed that I took her, aren't you? So now you're seducing my sister to get back at me. Is that it?" "Kyle, let him go." Claire tried to pull him off. In the scuffle, Kyle's fist connected with my face. The impact was heavy. My lips split instantly, and I could taste blood. This was exactly what I wanted. I didn't fight back. I just covered my face and looked at Claire, my expression a perfect mask of wounded disbelief. "That's enough." Claire's hand flew up, and she slapped Kyle across the face. The sound was sharp and loud. Kyle was stunned, holding his cheek as he stared at his sister. "Get out," Claire said, pointing to the door. "Get out right now." "Sis, he's really not. Get out." Kyle gritted his teeth, shot me a hateful glare, and stormed out, slamming the door behind him. The party ended awkwardly. After the relatives left, Claire gently dabbed at my split lip with an antiseptic wipe. As the disinfectant touched the wound, I let out a soft hiss. "Does it hurt?" Claire asked. "No, it's fine." I sighed, taking her hand. "Claire, I know I'm not good enough for you. Your family doesn't like me. Maybe we should just—" "Don't you dare say we should break up," Claire interrupted. "My brother is a spoiled brat. I'll deal with him. You're the man I've chosen, and I won't let anyone hurt you." I pulled her into an embrace, resting my chin on top of her head. Out of her line of sight, a slow, triumphant smile spread across my lips. After that, my conflicts with Kyle became more frequent. I was often the victim of his bullying. With each incident, which I would recount to Claire with carefully chosen embellishments, she began to tighten the financial screws on her brother. First, she canceled a few of his credit cards. Then his monthly allowance was cut from $100,000 to $50,000, then down to 20. Kyle stormed over to confront his sister several times, and each time, I happened to be there. Claire, Kyle's still young. It's normal for him to be a bit reckless with money. I would always say, playing the peacemaker. We can teach him slowly. Don't be too harsh on him. It sounded like I was defending him, but it was actually a reminder to Claire. Your brother is a lost cause who will never change. And, just as I predicted, the more I defended him, the angrier Claire got. He's 25. Still young? Look at the 25-year-olds in this company. They're all managing their own projects. What can he do besides spend money? Claire, don't upset yourself, I'd say, handing her a glass of water. How about this? I'll talk to him privately, try to reason with him. Of course, I went to find Kyle. I found him at his usual bar, ordered a bottle of their most expensive scotch, and slid it across the table to him. What do you want? Kyle asked, watching me with suspicion. Nothing. Just wanted to talk. I poured myself a glass. Kyle, I know you hate me, but fighting with your sister like this only hurts you. I don't need your fake sympathy. It's not sympathy, I said, taking a sip. I just think it's a shame. Sterling Industries is a huge company. Your sister is running it all by herself. If you showed a little ambition, went into the business to help her, wouldn't it all belong to you two in the end? Kyle was stunned. He never expected me to say something like that. What? What are you really up to? I want to make peace, I said, looking him in the eye. Let's put the past behind us. I genuinely love your sister, and I want what's best for this family. Let's work together. You come into the company, I'll show you the ropes, and when you're ready, you can take over. How does that sound? The speech was beautiful. So beautiful, Kyle almost believed it. But he still stood his ground. Why should I trust you? Because right now, I can convince your sister to cut you off completely, I said with a smile. And with a single word, I can also convince her to restore your allowance, maybe even give you a real position with power in the company. It's your choice. I stood up and patted his shoulder. Give me a call when you've thought it over. As I walked out of the bar, I glanced at my phone. The screen showed my text conversation with Claire. My last message read, I spoke with Kyle. I think he might have listened a bit. I hope he can start to mature. Claire had replied with a hug emoji. I smiled and put my phone away. I knew Kyle wouldn't trust me. That was fine. That was the point. I wanted him stewing in suspicion and anger, ready to make even more foolish decisions. Kyle had a fiancée, a woman named Sophia Vance. The Vance family was in the import-export business, their wealth on par with the Sterlings. The marriage was a strategic alliance arranged by their parents years ago. Kyle was head over heels for her, but Sophia was her own woman. She wasn't like the other girls Kyle had dated. He couldn't control her, and if he couldn't, I would. The moment I saw Sophia's picture, I knew she was the most important piece of my revenge. I wouldn't just take Kyle's sister, I would take his future wife, too. Getting close to Sophia took finesse. She wasn't starved for affection like Claire, nor was she shallow like most wealthy heiresses. She was smart, independent, and had a keen understanding of her family's business. Her passions were art exhibits, classical music concerts, and occasional volunteer work. I did my homework, even hiring a private investigator for a month to map out her routines and tastes. Then, I began engineering chance encounters. The first was at an art gallery in Chelsea. Sophia was studying an abstract painting. I walked up beside her, observed the piece for a few minutes, and then said softly, "The use of color in this piece is fascinating. It looks chaotic, but every brushstroke is pure emotion." She turned to look at me. "You know art?" "A little," I smiled. "I'm minored in art history." The artist is new, but his work has this powerful sense of struggle, a rebellion against tradition, a yearning for freedom. This was precisely why Sophia was drawn to the painting. We talked for 20 minutes, moving from that painting to the contemporary art scene, and then to our respective careers. I never mentioned my connection to Claire, only that I worked in marketing. As I left, I handed her my card. "It was a pleasure talking with you. If you're interested in the artist's other works, a friend of mine curated this exhibit. I could arrange a private viewing." Sophia took the card, her eyes lingering on me for a moment. "Thank you." Our second encounter was at a concert at Carnegie Hall. The third was at a charity gala for a nonprofit foundation. Each time, I displayed the perfect blend of charm and intellect. I could discuss art, business, and philanthropy with equal ease. It wasn't hard for a top student like me. With a little preparation and the help of AI search tools, I could become an expert on anything. I was witty without being flippant, and my gaze was focused and respectful, a stark contrast to Kyle, who treated her like a trophy. Sophia started to look forward to seeing me. The fourth encounter was my masterstroke. I found out the Vance family was in the middle of a crucial deal, but their counterparty had suddenly tried to renegotiate for a larger cut. Sophia's father was stressed, and she was pulling every string she could to salvage it. I called in a few favors from powerful people I had discreetly helped over the past 2 years. A week later, the deal was signed. The terms were even better than the original offer. Sophia called me, her voice filled with disbelief. "That was you, wasn't it?" "I happen to know a director on their board," I said, downplaying my role. "I'm just glad I could help." "I have to thank you in person," she insisted. "Are you free tonight?" "Dinner is on me." She chose a high-end Italian restaurant I had mentioned was my favorite. When she arrived, I was already there. "Sorry, the traffic was terrible," she said, sliding into the booth. She was wearing a simple black dress that made her skin look like porcelain. "It's my honor to wait for you," I smiled. We talked for 3 hours. Sophia opened up about her family's business, her ambitions for the future, and her views on marriage. "I don't want to get married just for a family alliance. I want to find someone who truly understands me." As she said this, she looked directly at me. I poured her another glass of wine. "You will." After dinner, I drove her home. In front of her family's mansion, she didn't get out of the car right away. "Ethan," she said my name. "Do you have a girlfriend?" I paused for a few seconds. "Yes," I said. It was a truth I couldn't hide. The light in Sophia's eyes dimmed. "But I'm not happy," I continued, my voice laced with the perfect amount of weary resignation. "It's more of a responsibility. She needs me, and I can't leave." "Why can't you leave?" "Because she helped me once, when I was at my lowest point," I said with a sad smile. "Sometimes, you're trapped by a debt of gratitude, even when you know it isn't love." It was a half-truth. Claire had certainly helped me, giving me every advantage she could since we'd been together. But Sophia believed the story completely. She reached out, and her fingers gently brushed the back of my hand. "You shouldn't have to live like that." Her touch was like flipping a switch. I turned my hand over and laced my fingers with hers. "Sophia," my voice was a whisper, "I wish I had met you sooner." That night, we kissed in the car. Her lips were soft, her passion new and untamed. When I tried to take things further, she stopped me. I'm not ready." Her face was flushed, her chest rising and falling rapidly. She pushed me away, got out of the car, and practically ran inside. Watching her go, I smiled. "You can't run from this, Sophia." "Kyle, you love taking what's mine, don't you?" "It's only fair I take everything that's yours." 9 on the night of Kyle's birthday, I booked a suite at the most expensive hotel in the city. I'd ordered roses and champagne a week in advance. Sophia was hesitant. "It's his birthday. Is it really okay if I don't go?" "He's the one who's out of line," I said, wrapping my arms around her from behind, my chin on her shoulder. "He has never respected you. He treats you like a possession to show off. Sophia, you deserve to live for yourself for once." She turned in my arms and hugged me tightly. "You're right." That afternoon, Kyle called Sophia over a dozen times. She didn't answer a single one. Finally, she just tossed her phone on a nightstand and lost herself with me in the hotel suite. The sky outside darkened. We didn't turn on the lights, leaving the room bathed in the warm glow from the bathroom. I was leaning against the headboard, smoking a cigarette, watching her hazy silhouette through the glass. The phone started vibrating again. "Kyle." I let it ring until the last second before I picked up. "Sophia, where are you?" "It's my birthday. All my friends are here waiting for you." "What are you doing?" "She's in the shower." "TSK. What a body," I said, my voice a low, suggestive growl that any man would understand. The line went silent for a few seconds, shock, or maybe he was moving to a private place before he exploded. "Who the fuck is this? Why do you have my girlfriend's phone? What the hell are you doing there? You better explain yourself right now, or I'll fucking kill you." Listening to Kyle's hysterical screaming, I held the phone away from my ear, waited for his impotent rage to subside, and then delivered the final blow. A man and a woman in a room. What do you think we did that would require a shower? We fucked, of course. And I have to say, your girlfriend is incredible. Motherfucker. The other end was just a stream of censored filth. "Who are you? Who the fuck are you? I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna tear you limb from limb." You still don't recognize my voice? You dumbass. It's your dear brother-in-law. Before he could respond, I hung up, turned off the phone, and tossed it aside. Sophia came out of the bathroom, smelling of fresh soap. As she came near, I pulled her close and kissed her neck. Who was that? She asked. Calling all night. Spam call, I said. Baby, how about another round? Everything was going according to plan. 10 the next afternoon, Kyle cornered me in the lobby of my office building. His eyes were bloodshot, like he hadn't slept at all. His clothes were wrinkled, his hair a mess. The second he saw me, he charged, swinging a wild punch at my face. This time, I didn't dodge. I leaned into it, making the blow look even harder than it was. Blood streamed from my nose, staining the front of my white shirt a dark crimson. What the hell is your game? Kyle screamed, grabbing my shirt. You sleep with my sister, you steal my girlfriend. Are you trying to drive me to my grave? A crowd was starting to form. The building's security guards started to move in, but I waved them off with a look. I needed an audience for this final act. Kyle, calm down, I said, wiping the blood from my nose, my voice steady. Claire and I are in love. And with Sophia, you've misunderstood. Misunderstood? Bullshit. That's not what you said last night. You two-faced snake. I'm going to kill you today. He raised his fist to hit me again. Kyle, what do you think you're doing? Claire's voice cut through the air. She must have just finished a meeting. She was still holding a folder. Her face went pale when she saw the scene. She rushed over, yanked Kyle away, and stood between us. Are you insane? Assaulting someone in front of the company. Sis, you don't know what don't I know? Claire cut him off, her voice trembling. I know that you're acting like a maniac. I know you do nothing but fool around all day while this man works his ass off. Now you come here and attack your own brother-in-law? I'm telling you, Kyle, as long as I'm here, you will not lay another finger on him. He's not my fucking brother-in-law. Kyle roared back. He's a con artist. He's a snake who only got close to you to get revenge on me. Claire raised her hand and slapped him again, harder than last time. Kyle's head snapped to the side, a trickle of blood appearing at the corner of his mouth. He turned back, staring at his sister in disbelief. Claire, don't, I said, grabbing her hand, my voice full of anguish and concern. Don't you enable him, darling, Claire said, her voice now filled with a chilling resolve she'd never shown her brother before. You're always too kind. It's why he's like this. She pulled her hand away and pointed at Kyle. I'm saying this for the last time. Ethan is my partner. He is your future brother-in-law. You will respect him the same way you respect me. If you can't accept that, then get out of this family. I don't have a brother like you. The words hung in the air. Even Claire seemed stunned she had said them. But years of frustration and disappointment had finally boiled over. Kyle looked at her, then at me, standing behind her with a look of concern. He suddenly started to laugh, a broken, ugly sound. Fina. Fine, he nodded. You protect him, Claire. But when he destroys you and takes everything, don't say I didn't warn you. He turned and walked away, stumbling like a man who had lost everything. Claire stood frozen, her shoulders trembling. I stepped up and wrapped my arms around her. Claire, I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. It's not your fault. She turned and buried her face in my chest. He's just so immature. Maybe some time on his own will do him good. But keep an eye on him for me. He's never had to struggle. Make sure he doesn't go without money. I stroked her hair, my gaze fixed on the direction Kyle had disappeared. Don't worry, darling. I've got it covered. 11 getting kicked out was just the beginning. I wanted Kyle, Sterling, completely and utterly destroyed. His body, his spirit, his wealth, his dignity. Nothing left. I contacted some people I knew who operated in the city's shadows. Loan sharks, underground casino operators, enforcers who specialized in making problems disappear. I paid them a substantial amount of money to execute a very detailed plan. Step 1 was to lure Kyle into gambling. That part was easy. A spoiled rich kid, cut off from his money and consumed by rage, is easy prey. They let him win a little at first, just enough to get a taste. Once he was hooked, they let him lose. And lose. And lose. Kyle sold his car. He sold his designer watches. He sold everything he could. It wasn't enough. He started taking loans from the sharks. I was the man behind the debt. The day after he missed his first payment, the enforcers found him. They dragged him into an alley and worked him over, choosing spots that would cause maximum pain without being lethal. When they were done, the leader crouched down and patted his cheek. Mr. Sterling, a debt is a debt. You have 3 more days. If you don't have the money, it'll be worse than this. Bruised and bleeding, Kyle crawled out of the alley and called his sister. I answered the phone. Kyle, what a surprise, I said, my voice warm and concerned. I need to talk to my sister. Claire's in a board meeting, I said. You can tell me. It's the same thing. He hesitated, then broke. I'm in debt. I need help paying it off. They're going to kill me. How much do you owe? 500,000. I was silent for a moment, then sighed. Kyle, it's not that I don't want to help you, but your sister is under a lot of stress with the company right now. If she finds out you're in trouble again, it'll crush her. Tell you what, I'll Venmo you $50 to get something to eat. You figure out the rest, okay? $50. Against a $500,000 debt, it was a joke. But to a desperate Kyle, it was a hot meal. A meal that only strengthened him for the next beating. On the 3rd day, the enforcers came back. This time they brought tools, steel pipes and baseball bats. They broke 3 of his ribs and shattered his left leg. They took a knife and carved a line down his face from the corner of his eye to his mouth, a deep rag wound. That still wasn't enough. They forced a chemical down his throat, a substance that felt like fire searing his vocal cords. A few days later, Kyle realized he couldn't make a sound. He was mute. Before he was fully healed, he was discharged from the hospital. A Good Samaritan I had arranged had paid for his initial treatment, but only enough to get him back on his feet. Penniless, disfigured, and voiceless, Kyle began living on the streets. He slept under bridges, dug through trash for food, and fought with other homeless people for territory. Sometimes I would drive by the corner where he begged. I'd stop the car, get out, and drop a coin into his filthy cup. I'd crouch down, look him in the eyes, and whisper, Kyle, do you remember me? He'd look up, his cloudy eyes reflecting my tailored suit. He'd open his mouth, but only a dry, rasping sound would come out. Trying to talk? Idismila. Too bad. But it's okay. You can still listen. I leaned closer, as if sharing a secret. I have some good news for you. Your sister and I are getting married soon. Sophia is doing wonderfully, by the way. She loves me very much. I take good care of her. I'm basically running the company now, and business is booming. If you behave, I might let you live like this. If you don't, well, you know what could happen to your sister, to the company. Kyle's eyes widened in horror. His whole body began to shake. Don't get excited, I said, patting his shoulder as I stood up. Stay alive, Kyle. Live a long, long time. And watch me have everything you ever had. I turned and walked away, the sound of my leather shoes crisp against the grimy pavement. Behind me, a guttural, animalistic whimper escaped Kyle's throat. He wanted to cry, but the tears had long since run dry. 12 years later, Claire was sitting in the study, watching the rain streak down the window pane. What are you thinking about? I asked, setting a glass of warm milk in front of her. I was thinking about Kyle, she said, rubbing her forehead. I haven't heard from him in so long. You said last time he was out of state, doing okay. Was that true? I sat down across from her and took her hand. Claire, there's something I haven't had the courage to tell you. Her body tensed. What is it? Kyle. He's gone. I lowered my eyes, my voice heavy with sorrow. 6 months ago, he got in a massive debt at a casino. He tried to cheat, and they came after him. By the time my contacts found him, it was too late. The milk glass slipped from Claire's hand and shattered on the floor. Gone? What do you mean, gone? He got involved with some mob boss's woman, I said softly. When we got there, all they found was a body. It was unrecognizable. I didn't want you to see it. I made the arrangements myself. I looked up, my eyes red. I'm so sorry, Claire. I should have told you sooner. I was just so afraid you couldn't handle it. Claire stared at me, tears streaming silently down her face. I pulled her into my arms, stroking her back. It's okay. Let out. It's okay to cry. She wept for hours. The next morning, she looked at me with swollen eyes and said, From now on, you're the only family I have. Ethan, I'm so tired. Please, help me with the company. I can't do it alone anymore. I kissed her forehead. Of course. I've been waiting 2 years to hear those words. My previous claim to Kyle that I was managing the company had been a lie. At the time, Claire had still intended to give him half, bound by sibling loyalty. Now, that was no longer an issue. Once I was in the executive suite, I unleashed my true business acumen. I was ruthless and decisive, restructuring internal departments, landing several major contracts and quickly earning the board's trust. Claire gradually ceded all control, handing more and more responsibilities to me. She was tired, so tired that all she wanted to do was rest in my arms and think of nothing. And through it all, in the midst of my busy schedule, I maintained my relationship with Sophia. Neither woman knew of the other's existence. My time management was flawless. Sophia had asked me, "When will it be over?" "With her. Soon," I would whisper, kissing her. "As soon as I have complete control of the company, I'll file for divorce. Just give me a little more time, Sophia." And Sophia believed me. She loved me enough to wait, enough to keep our secret. 3 years later, I was officially named CEO of Sterling Industries. Claire retired, keeping only the honorary title of chairwoman. She spent most of her time at our villa in the suburbs. I would visit 3 or 4 days a week, bringing her things she liked, keeping her company. She would hold my hand and talk about the past, about how mischievous her brother was as a child, about how gentle her mother had been. "Ethan, I'm so glad I have you," she always said. "I don't know how I would have survived without you." I would smile gently and kiss her cheek. She was so good to me. I would always take care of her. When I left, I would drive back to the city, to my other life at Sophia's apartment. 2 homes, 2 women, 2 families. I navigated it all with ease. One weekend afternoon, I was driving through a gritty, industrial part of the city. The area was a chaotic mess of wholesale markets, filled with the stench of fish and rotting vegetables. I pulled over and rolled down my window, my gaze falling on a familiar corner. Kyle was still there. 3 more years had passed. He was skeletal, filthier than ever. The scar on his face had formed a thick, puckered keloid, like a centipede crawling across his cheek. He was kneeling on the pavement, a broken bowl in front of him. When people passed by, he would knock his forehead on the ground, making that dry, rasping sound. I watched him for a few minutes, then got out of the car. I was dressed casually, a white linen shirt, tailored trousers, but the quality was unmistakable. I walked over to Kyle and dropped a few crisp bills into his bowl. He looked up. His eyes were clouded and yellowed, the pupils devoid of any light. He stared at me for a few seconds, showing no recognition, then bowed his head and continued his ritual. I crouched down. "Kyle," I said, my voice too low for anyone else to hear. "It's me." His movements paused. He looked up again, and this time he stared for a long, long time. And then a grin split his ruined face. He raised a filthy hand and pointed at me, then at himself. Then he gave me a thumbs up and slowly, deliberately turned it upside down. "You win," he was saying. I smiled back. I stood up, adjusted my cuffs, and turned to leave. After a few steps, I glanced back one last time. Kyle wasn't looking at me anymore. He was just mechanically knocking his head against the concrete, over and over, like a hollowed-out shell, a body with no soul. A few more years went by. Both women gave me children, a son and a daughter from each. My life became a frantic juggle between the company and my 2 homes. I never went back to see Kyle again. The minutiae of my 2 lives filled every waking moment. There was no time left to look back. And besides, he probably never wanted to see me again anyway.